Okay, so this is a guy, royalty, a line, believes that homosexuality is evil or a sin or something. So let's see his reasoning for that. Reasoning.
In light of fallen nature. I explained in a prior video that fallen nature is mistaken as human nature itself, when really it originated with the fallen archangel Lucifer himself, where his seed permeated into mankind.
He's referencing a video he did previously where he believes that when we talk about, like, oh, human nature, it's not human nature, it's fallen nature. This is only our nature because it happened in the Garden of Eden, which, you know, that would encompass every human being who's ever lived. So, seems like that would be human nature to me, but whatever. Make the differentiation to make yourself feel better about the homophobia. Do you?
Which then led to the excessive desire and misbehavior in human history. And I'm sure with all of us, we have experienced it in our own ways. But let me start off with heterosexuality in light of the original nature from God. Okay, so original nature, in God's perspective, man and woman were supposed to become fruitful, multiply, and take dominion over the earth. In Genesis chapter 1, verse 28,
if you're going to get your sociological views on what it's okay for people to do from the Bible, you're going to have a bad time. Don't do it.
Classic. And God gets to define the roles of man and woman in their relationship with one another.
Why?
Men and women are...
Why? I'm genuinely curious, even from a Christian perspective. Like, if God created beings, and those beings are happy being with each other, and they're, like, a same-sex couple, like, what's the issue? Why does God get to then dictate to them, no, you're doing it wrong? Like, God made them, and if that's how they feel, then God made them that way. So why would it be within God's purview to say, well, don't do it that way? Why? Then why did God make them in that way? Why did God make them attracted to someone who's the same gender as them? Why do, God? Why do?
Then to keep their proper positions and appreciate their identity in his purpose of creation.
Speaking of proper positions, fun fact, there are stuff that were Bible stories prior to the Bible actually being put together, because what we know is the modern Bible was put together more or less at the Council of Nicaea, okay, which was a thing. So prior to that, there were tons of stories that were about biblical figures that didn't make the cut into the Bible. But nonetheless, they were considered canon back in the day just as much as everything else. Antipodian Squid with 10 bits, God's a boomer, go forth and live freely. Wait, no, not like that. So in the Bible, and you can actually notice this too, in the Bible there is a, how do I put this? Man and woman gets created twice, sort of, or at least woman gets created twice. And it's kind of confusing, but it makes more sense with the context that originally there was a story that was between those two things in which Eve was not the first woman. According to this story, Eve was not the first woman. Lilith was. Lilith was created along with Adam. So it was Adam and Lilith, not Adam and Eve. And Lilith was evil because she didn't want to be subservient to Adam. She wanted to be equal, or even, gasp, when they were going to go and have intimate times, she wanted to be on top. Oh no, and that's a sin that God cannot allow. So God, like, cursed her, and Lilith became basically a demon. And this is true. I mean, it's true in the sense that this is what people believed. For a long time, certain Christians thought that nocturnal emissions that many men get in their adolescence, which is when you coom in your sleep, let's say. I don't know why I said let's say. That's literally what it is. They thought that that was caused by Lilith coming into your room at night as a demon and jerking you off.
There's nothing funny about the tools of capitalism.
Kind of fun. They also thought Lilith smothered babies in the crib. Sniped, says Mitchell Drummer. Or Mitchell Drummer. And then Tucker White 94, God exists outside human understanding. Oh, then I guess he should explain himself better. Yeah, okay, I'm caught up.
So God established this original order to experience balance and harmony of love, where all are free to equally love and be loved, feeling each one's value within the family.
Okay, but, like, not really, because there are people who are just gay, right? So they're not being allowed to equally share in love the way that they want to, right? If someone's gay, and I'm bi, so I'm attracted to, you know, men and women, and that's cool. But there are people who are just straight and can only be attracted to people who are of the opposite gender to themselves, and then there are people who are just gay, who are just attracted to the same gender. And that's fine. That's completely fine. There's nothing wrong with that. To tell a gay person, like, you have to be with someone of the opposite gender even though you're going to be miserable, that's terrible. That's terrifying, and it would make no sense for an all-powerful God to do so, because God would have had to make people gay in the first place. Like, we know at this point that people don't, like, choose to be gay. That's not a thing. People have, like, an orientation, and that's fine.
This leads to multiplying goodness. With this organic family business of love that God creates, each generation gets to participate in true love, that which is unconditional, unchanging, unique, and eternal.
That is so weird, because marriage in the Western world for so long was not defined by love. Like, arranged marriages were a thing in the Western world under Christianity. It wasn't about love, it was about, like, procreation and business bonds between families. It was really messed up.
Now, let's look at the opposite of that, where the sodomites or homos take their turn.
Oh, no! He's going there. Where's Gay Road, by the way? I think we should probably headquarter ourselves over on Gay Road.
Fallen nature. So, they don't see from God's perspective where men marry men and women marry women. Whether they would...
His only, reference for any lesbian is Ellen DeGeneres. That's the one he knows.
be of the reprobate or wicked category, or the simply ignorant and misguided ones who are still...
What does this say? I'm not a homosexual. Oh, why would you put text over this? I can't read it. What does this say? I'm not a homosexual. I'm just confused right now. Okay. All right.
stricken by their conscience, nevertheless, they still...
Why is he putting text over this? I'm sexually confused. Can't something and flirt with you? Something? I don't know.
Still fall in the umbrella of fallen nature. And I know people still say that Jesus never mentioned, therefore he didn't condemn homosexuality. But if Jesus so respected the law and the prophets, like Moses who put down dung-eating dogs to death, or Abraham who witnessed Sodom and Gomorrah in their death.
For the last time, Sodom and Gomorrah is not explicitly about homosexuality. How many times can this be talked about? Have you actually read the story? At no point in Sodom and Gomorrah does it say, hey, we're destroying this town because they're gay. It just says wickedness, and that can be interpreted quite a number of ways. MMO Addicted, does the U.S. have any openly trans senators or representatives? I'm actually not sure. At a federal level, I don't think so. But maybe at some state levels, I'm not sure.
Downfall due to unnatural lust, then yeah, I think you can see how that argument is pretty weak. Like having incontinence bowel syndrome, just not strong enough to hold your poop. So butt-licking loving people leave their proper position.
Wow! This guy's like really, really rude. It's not even that he just doesn't think gay people should be married. He's like really, really gross about it. Jesus Christ. I haven't seen this level of homophobia in a very, very long time. But Hannah, sodomy. Coincidence? I think not. Checkmate, atheist. MMO Addicted with 10 bits. Huh, so Poland is ahead on that. Shame, 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 rings bell.
There's nothing funny about the tools of
Tucker White 94. Wasn't the allegory of Sodom and Gomorrah to put God before everything else in your life? It's complicated. Part of it ends up being about Lot going into the cave so his daughters can take advantage of him. It's a whole thing. Marcus Drake with 100 bits. In Virginia, there's a Dancia Rom. There's Dancia Rom. Is that I assume, a trans individual who is
There's nothing funny about
in the state senate or something?
And cause a reversal of dominion.
You want a link so you can report it? Here's a link if you'd like. Doesn't have very many views.
of authority to then experience imbalance and disharmony of love between man and a man. There are two subjects violently vying for the alpha position, while the women on women, well, they are so disoriented by their forced positions leaves them by just being frustrated. Seriously.
What?
Women are more co-team players. They don't operate in hierarchies with each other. Once a
There's so many problems with this video. First of all, why do you think all relationships need to be a hierarchy? Because that's a really messed up way of looking at your relationships if you think that you're like in charge of the relationship and of your partner. And secondly, why... you think that lesbians are confused and it can't work because they are cooperative. This man's poor wife, my goodness.
woman, especially in equal age, is in a ruling position over another woman leads to total chaos. A woman cannot handle a man's role in being patient with another woman. And the woman in the man's role, while she may be seeking for respect, like a man, but really wants love because she's a woman, is getting respect from her partner and yet hates her partner for giving her respect.
Parka12Tuzo, thank you for following. This is messed up. This is a really, really bad video. He's got so many backwards misconceptions about so many things in regard to relationships, gender, sexual orientation, gender identity. It's all just a mishmash of garbage. It's literally like someone went to a dump and just like took a bunch of garbage from the ground and smushed it into a ball and threw it at me.
Oh my gosh, this just leads to cat fights and
This is... It leads to cat fights? His only knowledge of women comes from Degrassi. You just watch Degrassi a lot, or other soap opera type things where women just like fight each other. Stupid.
bunch of brutality on each other. I'm sure a lot of lesbians can
There's
relate,
nothing
but
funny about the tools of capitalism.
Oh no, is this gonna be a what did I walk into vid again? Yeah.
even though left
He's like a conservative Christian, a creationist, and an incel all wrapped into one.
this would like to say that the definition of gender doesn't exist, you can tell
What? No. It's that sex and gender have two different definitions. You can't even get the position of people you disagree with right.
who takes it up the ass and who wears the dildo. Multiplication of evil, which means that it leads to chaos so far literally to the point of death without any fruits.
Oh my god, this is someone who died of AIDS because the Reagan administration failed to act. You absolute monster.
While they lead to their own demise by getting STDs, HIV, AIDS, they surely have a short lifespan and live pretty much unhappy lives that they like to lie to themselves saying, it'll get better, just put more hot dogs up your buttons.
The it gets better thing was targeted at gay and trans youth, right? Because they get bullied a lot. Most people who grow up and live independent lives and live as themselves if they're gay or trans are quite happy. Do you know any gay people? Tucker White 94, as a bisexual man who's dated a bunch of men and women, I've known women who were stoic as fuck and men who were emotional as fuck. Yeah.
But worst of all, really, is to not only end their lives in an unfashionable death, but they rather take some with them in order for their lives to find any meaning. Like what the late Jerry Falwell says, homosexuals don't reproduce children, they recruit. As we can see,
Straight people have gay and trans kids, dumbass. Comments are turned off. Coward.
with government, state indoctrination schools, what they program our children and learning literally by drag queens and gay prostitutes to embrace this Talmudic reasoning
Gay
behavior.
prostitutes. What drag queen story time are you going to with gay prostitutes? What are you talking about?
Which, if it were fully embraced by us taking the ticket, would literally dilapidate our society within one generation. And that is homosexuality in light of fallen nature. So remember everyone, be fruitful and
nothing funny
multiply,
about the
don't be
tools of
fruity and blow
capitalism.
guy. Peace.
Yeah, I'm not reading that, Andrew Dickerson. I normally would, but I don't like that kind of... it plays into the homophobia if you make, like, jokes like that. Like, no, not doing it. This guy's nutty. Okay, we'll be looking at this guy again in the future, probably. Look at all these videos, Jesus. Anyway, we'll move on to something else less depressing. I put a link in the thing. Here's another link. I don't know a timestamp. There's a lot of them. You'll have to find one on your own.